Hello again, and welcome back to my channel. Hope some of you makers out there are enjoying my one-handed maker challenge. I'll leave a link in the description. You've got just under a month to get your videos uploaded to YouTube. I'd like them to go out, if possible, on the weekend of what would have been the original Makers Central, which is the 2nd and 3rd of May, to fill that void of the postponement of that event. One of my subscribers and also a channel I follow, OldManTony, has jumped the gun and has already uploaded his video. So had a look at that, Tony. Fantastic work and well done. He uses the that Japanese wood burning technique, and it looks really good. So good work, Tony. Fantastic, well done. On to today's video, which is actually going to be a series of videos, is my next modular build project. So it's a step up from my original one, which was the cold storage box. This one, which is currently in work behind me, is a bike stroke storage shed. Now, I've been working my way through it. I've filmed literally tens and tens of hours worth of video. So I've decided to make it a 3-part series. Part 1, today's part, is actually going to be the frame and the roof timbers. Part 2 is going to be the cladding and the door, and the final part, part 3, is going to be the roofing, felt, assembly and guttering, etc. So it is moving on from this idea of a modular design. It's not a concept, certainly didn't come up with it, but wondering actually why I do it. And anyone who's enjoying the Makers Challenge at the moment will certainly understand why I approach building in this way. Firstly, building larger projects, if you like, or any project really, takes me a hell of a long time. The one-handed makers will atone to this. OldManTony made reference to how long it took him to get his mitre saw stand up in the correct position. So building projects take a hell of a long time. So the modular idea of actually building it bit by bit, and then being able to bring it together and assemble it, so I can just work away, take my time with things, and then when it gets towards actual construction time, it's actually clicking it together or screwing it together or bolting it together. So that's why I'm going along this line, because if I get this right and it works and I'm happy, the next step is the big one in the summer, which will be a workshop constructed in a modular style. So I hope you enjoy these series of videos. It's going really well. It's quite slow, the building process, but that was to be expected. But I'm really enjoying it. Quite tiring as well. So take care, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you in part 2. Thank you. This bit is just a rerun of my one-handed woodworking techniques on how to actually fix some timber to an 8x4 board. Took ages to figure this one out, but was very happy when I got the end result. The idea of putting the mitre saw stand between my temporary workbench and lifting it off is just so it doesn't put too much pressure on the other OSB board, meaning it's less likely to flip up into my face when I lift it off. Once the construction of the base is completed, it's the same for the sides and the back. Just need to cut the OSB to size and then frame it with the 3x2 treated timber. In this case I'm just measuring up. I want the front of the shed to be 7 foot and dropping down to 6 foot at the back. So I just need to measure that up, and then I'll take the track saw out just to trim it and then line it with the treated timber. Also to point out, at this stage I've got the two side OSB pieces together, so when I make the cut it'll be identical on both sides. I'm just using the digital angle finder to double check that I've got the cut was correct, and should come out at 76 degrees, which it does. So I know when I go back to my mitre saw I can adjust it to 14 degrees to make the cuts for the framing timber. No, it's early like, but I don't think the shed was meant to be this tall. I could swear I've measured it correctly. Anyway, back to the OSB and the framing timber. Got the angle cut spot on the mitre saw, and then the next step is, as with all the base pieces, the side and the back, is just to attach the 3x2 to the OSB boards. Once the 3x2 is attached to the OSB, it's important that I actually attach them to each other to make sure I get the structural rigidity that I'm after. Regular viewers to my channel will recognise Jeff's jig. The jig that Jeff made for me from a Festool domino for changing the cutter blade. Can't thank you enough, Jeff. Use it all the time, mate. The idea to use dominoes here is the same principle as when I made my cold storage box. It's not for structural rigidity, it's actually just more for guidance. So when I'm bringing the side panels in and the back panels onto the actual base frame, it just allows me to align them up correctly without needing the assistance of someone else. once I've got the temporary support in place, it was then important obviously to attach the frames to each other. So I'm just using some fixings here, make sure I'm pre-drilling the holes every 4 to 6 inches. The next stage was to build the section that would go over where the door and the front partition is going to be. I have got the footage of me putting it together here. I'm absolutely gutted. I think either the camera foam went dead, or for whatever reason I haven't got the filming of me putting it in place. It was an ingenious bit of thinking. However, I will save it for another time. Hopefully when I am building the workshop in the summer. At this stage I decided to put an additional piece of timber across the middle of the side and the back panels, just to give it that extra structural rigidity. I could have done it whilst it was actually on my makeshift workbench, but I was conscious of the fact of the weight of me being able to manoeuvre them around, so I thought it would be more important to actually get it up and in place, and then it's relatively straightforward for me to fix the additional piece of timber into place. Morning. Hope you're all keeping well. Had a day off building yesterday, just put my feet up and just relaxed a little bit. So we're back onto it, and I've got a few things to look at really. I'm looking to get the roof structure on. I'm going to have a 12-inch overhang on all the sides. But looking at it this morning, I've got a bit of a gap up here on the front frame to the angles. So what I've done, I've got a piece up here, is I took my table saw and aligned it at 14 degrees, it's 30 mil there, and just cut a test piece through. And it's pretty spot on really actually, and what it will do is it means the weight of the roof structure will also evenly be loaded onto this and not just the sides. but also I thought with this I'm going to do that right along. I'm going to glue that down and fix it in, but it's also a great way of getting rid of my offcuts, scrap pieces. So I'm going to do that first. I've also decided, slight change in plan, is I'm going to put another one of these on, so bring it to about here and just have one door. A couple of reasons really. I've only really got in the house a pair of hinges, and also it's one less door to hang. So I'm just gonna, I asked Pam about getting the bike in and out, and she said fine, that's no problem. I'm just going to open the door up that way because our gate's there, so just open the door that way, in goes the bike, and just less hassle. So slight change of plans to that. Roof structure on, we'll see how we get on. I decided for the outer frame of the roof, which has now become 10 foot by 8 foot, to use treated 2x2 because still had plenty of this. And then for the actual roof joist themselves, I was going to use 3x2. Again, the main reason for this was I was getting a little bit concerned about the weight implications of being able to lift the outer frame into place on my own, because I was a little bit worried about how I was actually going to do that. So I've done the outer frame, as you can see there, with 2x2, and I put one joist of 3x2, 6 inches in, and then to see if I could actually somehow maneuver it into place. Now, if you are a follower of us on Instagram, you will have seen the next stage. This was the precursor to it, of how I somehow, I don't want to give the plot away, managed to get the roof on top of the structure itself. Here we go. Right, and that brings us to the end of part 1, and I hope you enjoyed that. If you do follow us on Instagram or Facebook, I put up little snippets on occasions of certain build project aspects. One, I done a Benny Hill style assembling the actual roof frame going on, which was quite well received. So keep a lookout on those kind of things if you follow us on that. Just one thank you to Bill Carroll, who put me onto something in regards to carrying 8x4 boards. He sent me a link to a video about a guy who just created this kind of hook sort of thing, and I had a go at it, but it was kind of lifting it on when my foot was it was okay, like, but it got me thinking, Bill, so thanks very much for this. And I managed to find this contraption on Amazon for about, I think it was reduced to £13, and I'm just going to show you a little demonstration of it now. And it is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant for carrying. Well, I've got 11mm OSB boards, so, but it'll obviously do thicker ones as well, because particularly this kind of action. So when it clamps on, so it's quite all right, because my left shoulder's all right, you know, my left arm's okay. And that'll take the brunt of it, but it's really comfortable. So cheers for that, Bill. Hope things are keeping well for you guys over in Oz and everywhere else. Please stay safe, ladies and gents. Look after yourselves. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.